I've reviewed a few IEMs from NF Audio, but recently they changed their name to NF Acous, and one of their first new releases under this new name is the NM20, a single dynamic driver IEM, which is also the successor to their popular NM2. For full transparency, these were sent to me by NF Acous for review, but I am free to give my full thoughts and experiences using them. Even though I reviewed a few of their IEMs before, I haven't looked too much into their history. They've been around for 10 years now, and most of their focus has been on custom IEMs for stage use, and they seem to have been quite popular in China. With custom IEMs that range from hundreds of dollars to almost $1,000, it makes sense that their more budget-friendly NM2 universal IEM would gain a lot of popularity. NF Acous seems to be focused on stage IEMs for monitoring, as well as branching out to more avenues for general music listening, as well as some gaming collabs. But how does their new NM20 hold up in the sea of new IEMs coming out that seem to be getting better and better at even lower prices? Well, one thing I will say about the new NM20 is that it feels quite nostalgic. There is a lot about this IEM that feels like it could have fit in with IEMs 4 years ago. The shell is all plastic and feels very light, and I will say that they are small and fit comfortably in my ear, but I do hear driver flex when I put them in. The plastic shell has a slight frosted texture to it, which I do think makes it feel a bit nicer in hand and also looks less cheap than just clear plastic. Despite it feeling lightweight, the overall construction does feel durable. The 2-pin connector as well feels very secure, and I don't think that there's any way it would accidentally disconnect during use, which is something that would be important if this were used for stage monitoring. The included cable is decent as well. Below the Y-split, the cable is wound in a way that gives the cable flexibility without feeling springy or prone to tangling. Unfortunately, above the Y-split, with the wires going to each earphone, the cable does retain the flexibility, but it does feel a bit more likely to tangle if it was coiled up. It also comes with a small zip-up case, which I actually do like, as it does feel quite sturdy and almost more like a hard case. And I do feel that this case would do well to protect the IEMs if they were dropped. But when it comes to sound is where I feel that these IEMs definitely are the most reminiscent of older IEMs. They do state on the packaging and even the IEM itself that these are stage monitor IEMs, meant for neutrality and accurate playback with some added bass. And really these need that extra bass because otherwise I doubt anyone would be able to really listen to them. The most standout feature about how these IEMs sound is their boosted treble, not only being boosted but also peaky. That said, don't take the amount of treble on this graph too seriously, as 711 couplers can vary quite a bit in those higher frequencies. But to my ear at least, these IEMs sound quite sibilant. The boost and treble also has an effect of making these IEMs sound more narrow and closed in than you would expect given how much of a hole there is in the mids. Everything from the treble is just front and center. I even played around a bit by adding a bit of EQ with a shelf just above 4K to bring down the treble, and with the treble shifted down, it actually made the IEM sound a bit more full as well as more spacious. So the treble really is something that is a focus with this IEM, and it makes those details a standout feature that sounds very close. Maybe that was intentional considering these are for stage use. The IEM itself can only block out so much noise, and maybe the boost treble was intentional and something that some performers did like and comment on. But from my own perspective as just someone listening at home to music, I can say that this tuning isn't really something that I enjoy. So for me personally, considering that they cost $120, there are other options that I would choose for personal listening and enjoyment at that price. But these are a new iteration on an already existing model that seems to be quite popular and has a large user base. So for those users who like the previous model, maybe this might be a compelling upgrade for them or something that they might want to move on to and continue on with NF Acous as they expand their products and range even more.